In today's breaking news, a car cranks but will not start, the next it flies.
Hello, good afternoon guys, this is Dr. Cool Auto Fix. In today's video, I'm gonna be discussing about bad intake air temperature sensor, where it's located, what it does in your car, and the symptoms, so that if you don't have a scan tool, I'm actually doing this video because of most of you who don't have a scan tool, so that if you start seeing some of those symptoms in your car, then there is every tendency that you have a problem with intake air temperature sensor in your car. And the good thing is it's cheap, not expensive to buy. The second good thing is that most of the time it's just within a very locatable position in your car engine, which you can simply replace it. And I'm gonna also teach you different how you can actually locate it in different car makes and model, because some cars you find it in a different position, and in some other car you find it in a very strange and weird position which you actually don't expect to see it. So I don't want to waste more of your time. If you're new to my channel, subscribe to my channel now and sit back while I teach you what you need to know about intake air temperature sensor, its engineer specifications, and what you should look out for when you start having a problem. If you don't have a scan tool, you should at least have a multimeter to be able to, but even if you don't have a multimeter to be able to test it, I'll also show you some other ways you can be able to test it manually if you spot it in your car. So without wasting your time, let me switch up the camera. I'm going to be using Volkswagen Jetta in this case to demonstrate it. You can see it after the 307 that is behind me, after the Passat right there. So let's go. Okay, here we go. So the first thing I'm going to be doing here is to open the hood of this very car, which is from here. And let's go over there. Now, if you have, the first thing I'm going to show you is a location. And here we are. Now, if you have a Honda car or some other Asian model, if you look through the air intake boot here and follow it very well, or even if you find some of the Ford model, not just Asian model, you're gonna see it somewhere here, just like a nipple, you know, like my hand, like this. That's what it is. You're gonna feel it, and most of them are actually having two wires. And what you're gonna be getting there, if suppose yours is having a problem and you're trying to diagnose it, is you're gonna be having a ground wire that can be coming from anywhere. And you're going to be having a 5 volts reference that is coming straight from the ECU. Now, for most other German makes, you might not be able to find it around here. It's not belted like this, just like a hole spotted, and that's how you're going to be able to find it. Now, for most German makes, you need to pop this guy open. If it is BMW, you might see it along the air boots. And for the German makes, this is your map sensor. And also, this is your intake temperature sensor. It's weird, right? Now, I told you that is weird because you're gonna be finding it in a strange location. Now, this map or air intake temperature sensor is inbuilt in there. It's not just only that guy right there. So when you have the problem, the first thing you're going to be noticing is you're going to be having a surging idle. The surging idle, maybe let me create that scenario so you can be able to know. Let me create it so you know. Now I have this wire right here which actually gives a signal to the intake air temperature sensor. So let me go ahead and disconnect it. This is the signal wire which is supposed to be bringing how many volts? I told you guys, 5 volts reference. So let me go ahead and disconnect it and start this car. But before then, I'm going to start this car. Now I've disconnected it, so let me go ahead and show you how it does its thing there. And every other signals, I think this is the most comprehensive video about this very intake air temperature sensor on any car. So when I start it, then you see how it does. Now you can see it, guys. You have a rough idle right there. So I think this is the most comprehensive video you will ever come across that talked about intake air temperature sensor. Now this is the first symptoms, rough idle. you have a rough idle, because at this point there are two things that's going on here. Let me go ahead and shut it down before we go over to the next thing. Why is it having that rough idle, unstable idle? Now that's a very interesting question. That reason there is because at this very point here, there is a two disagreement. The engine have a lot of other input sensors that's giving it information that look, the air coming inside right now is not cold, it's warm. But this guy right here, this air intake, because of this signal wire disconnected right now, is telling the ECM that no, we have minus 40 degrees air going inside here, which means there is more moisture in that air, is cold. And when that is actually cold, it's going to be supplying more fuel into the car. And now, I guess you know exactly what it means when it supplies more fuel than necessary into the car. That's going to be leading us to the number 2 symptoms, which is it burns more fuel. It takes more fuel. So you have a bad fuel economy. That's number 2 right there. Now, why is it having a surging idle? I'm going to explain to you. The computer is trying to find a balance because it has some other input sensors giving it that the temperature of the air of the engine is like this, and if the temperature is like this, the air coming inside should be like this. The environment temperature is like this, and the intake air temperature is saying it's minus 40. So the computer is trying to find a balance between these two readings. It has some other good readings and it has bad readings, trying to find a balance between. Just take it like a case scenario where a lot of women, feminists, are saying that men are equal to women. All right, and the computer is like scratching his head and trying to, oh, what the hell is that supposed to be? Okay, let's get some women and let's get a man. You both dive into the sea and do saturation diving, and women say no, we can do that. It's okay. We need a lot of bricklayers in the site, and the women say no, we can do that. Now it dawns on you. The computer is saying, if you can do that, then you guys are not equal. Why are you saying that you guys are equal? All right. Now, that is exactly what the ECM is trying to do. The ECM is having readings there that are showing that there is a problem somewhere, but someone is saying that, oh, everything is all right. So the computer is trying to find a balance, and that is why it's going up and down on the idle, fluctuating. Now, when that incident happened again, I don't want to risk my engine too much on doing this because that actually obviously damaged the engine. Other problems you're going to be experiencing right there when you have that sensor bad is that you're going to be having a poor throttle response. When you step on the gas pedal, it's going to be sinking and it's not going to be showing the full potential power to the engine as it's supposed. So the car is going to be alternatively losing a throttle response. So when you're stepping on it, there is no power. That's another symptoms. The engine will be losing power. When it lacks throttle response, it also lacks engine power. All right. So probably this is going to be going around 10 symptoms today. You do the counting. We have poor throttle response. We have loss of engine power. We have bad fuel economy. Then the next one here, we're going to be having a black smoke coming at your tailpipe here, standing, which is actually showing you that this engine, this computer is throwing more fuel into the combustion chamber because it's believing the lies that intake air temperature sensor is feeding it that, look, we have minus 40 degrees going in, which I just tricked it to do right now by disconnecting the signal wire, which normally should be 5 volts reference. I hope that is clearly on. Now, the next thing you have to understand about the intake temperature sensor also is that when the engine started losing power, started losing throttle response, having a poor or low throttle response, a lot of other shitty things goes into place. And one of those shitty things that goes into place is you have a chance of damaging your engine because it creates engine misfire, which is still another symptoms. So the engine misfires and doesn't fire correctly. Each time you have a poor throttle response, a poor power because the engine management electronics or your engine onboard computer knows exactly the power which the engine is supposed to deliver. And when it delivers low because there are some sort of component inside the engine that is not performing very fine, like the air intake temperature sensor, then there is a compensation. Using more fuel, and using more fuel is not actually good for your engine because there is a calculated quantified fuel that actually is supposed to go inside the combustion chamber to make a very good combustion. And when the ECU opts for more fuel than necessary to go inside there, it creates a whole lot of problem. So we have engine misfire there. Then the next thing is going to be also engine backfires. Now, why does it cause a backfire? It causes a backfire because when this guy tricks the ECM to believe that the system is actually cold and it supplies more than necessary fuel into the combustion chamber, what happens? Some of the unburned fuel get escaped through the outlet valve and dump right there in the exhaust manifold and get ignited because of how hot the exhaust system is, the outlet manifold. It gets ignited in there, causing engine backfire. So when you step on the gas pedal, you're gonna be hearing some pump, 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 trying to shoot somebody. So that is exactly what you're actually gonna be noticing when you have a bad intake air temperature sensor. I believe at this very juncture, there is no one on YouTube who have taken his time to actually analyze how this system works together with the ECM to control your fuel economy and as much as create a very smooth drivability when you step on the gas pedal or when you make some sort of input command using your throttle pedal or whatsoever, whether you try to drive aggressively or you try to drive moderately. This guy actually takes it into consideration. So guys, let me flip up the camera one more. I think at this very junction here, now troubleshooting is what troubleshooting phase is what I want to show you right now. The troubleshooting phase is pretty much simple. If you have some sort of multimeter, if suppose you don't have a scan tool, first of all you gotta pull this guy out, check for any bends or broken pin. Like you can see here, this one is broken and it should be giving you some code like P0113 or P1141. Any of those can actually be meaning that this guy here is either broken or there is a power missing from the reference volt that's supposed to be supplying it, or the ground could actually be defective, just like you see the shitty wiring which these guys did here. All right, or any of this wire could be shorted, or just like I just interrupted in trying to show you exactly what this engine does when I disrupt the system by disconnecting the wire, so you can be able to take a look at it and see the symptoms yourself. I take pretty much that risk to actually analyze and show you how this intake temperature sensor is, guys. So now you know the symptoms, now you know the location, now you know it functions, and the priority it plays, the main major role it plays in the internal combustion engine. Don't forget to subscribe. Why would I say you shouldn't forget to subscribe? If someone does good thing to you, what do? You find a way to say thank you. So the best way to say thank you to me is to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and turn on your notification icon. But you don't need to subscribe if all I have taught you right now is not as it is. If all I taught you right now didn't help you to fix your car, if actually your intake air temperature sensor is bad and this doesn't help you, you don't need to subscribe to my channel, right? But on the other hand, if this actually helped you to fix your problem, to narrow down and fix your problem, and you didn't subscribe, then you are some sort of ungrateful person. Well, I'm gonna be leaving it right here. This is Dr. Cool Auto-Fix. I gotta catch you guys some other time. Bye for now. I'll see you on the next video.